BBBY continuing on the path that we spoke of yesterday. Let's go ahead and see what the potentials are for the coming days. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again. This is ARCa coming at you with a BBBY technicals, raw price action, and statistical thread of analysis on this Thursday afternoon. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community in Discord called ARCa Bulls. With that said, let's dive right into the charts. Okay, you guys, so yes, we're looking at BBBY on the 3-day chart here, and we, just for the newer viewers, right, just a quick little recap. This is an inverted cup and handle that we're actually looking at, and it's actually playing out exactly the way it should be playing out, right? So the original take profit for this would have been found actually right down here at about 33.22, and of course the price action has continued slightly to the downside. But one thing to notice here is that if you can actually pay very close attention to the candle structures, you can actually see that the candles are actually minimizing in size as we go. That's typically, that's typically a little bit of a sign of bear strength kind of minimizing, right? So here's another sign too. We have some diminishing volume there on the red bars. So another sign to kind of validate that there is a loss of strength here from the bears, and there could be a floor found very soon. Okay, so now let's go ahead and continue on to the next chart and see what we have. Okay, so all right, so this is the 5-day volatility versus momentum backtest. Okay, so this is something that I actually performed throughout the entire trading history of the BBBY asset in the 5-day chart. Okay, so all of these, just let it kind of fill out, right? But all of these iterations are my samples taken from this particular criteria. Okay, so that criteria is that anytime that volatility has expanded into critical volatility, which is within the 90 percentile, and started a contraction phase towards the downside, paired with stochastic momentum with an upside pivot, I have taken note of that iteration's upside thrust, the duration of the iteration, and the amount of times that each iteration got the guess correctly to the upside versus the downside. Okay, so out of all of these samples, this is the data set that we actually came back with, right? So we notice a total of 35 iterations throughout the entire trading history of the 5-day chart, and of which 25 were guessed correctly to the upside, giving us a 71.43% upside accuracy with a 62.55% upside thrust over the span of about 47 days, right? So that condition is very close to being met, right? So we definitely want to get that upside pivot and momentum, and we definitely want to start to get that contraction phase from volatility. Okay, so on average, anytime that condition has met, we have made this move, right? But there is actually something very interesting to look at here. The historic lows note that you see here, pardon me, is not 45%, right? So that means that actually, this is where we are right now. So right at this position here. Sorry, that's actually I don't know why I wrote it as 45. It's actually supposed to be 34, just like this. All right. And that 34% is historically the lowest that, check it out. This is, I can't even get rid of it, right? I was trying to get rid of the vertical lines. But yeah, this position right here is the lowest that stochastic momentum has ever reached in its entire trading history since like the 90s, right? So very curious for it to be so bottomed out. So this kind of makes it its own iteration. So I mean, the only trajectory from oversold is usually, to the upside, right? So and we did speak about a couple targets on that, right? So let's go ahead and move on to that next chart and start acquiring those again. Okay, so we spoke of this broadening descending wedge, which is being traded the way it traditionally traded prior to 2021 when the markets shifted into the bear cycle, right? So usually this formation was actually a bearish formation, right? Creating a series of lower highs and lower lows that would usually indicate a potential loss of strength, and then it would be the bears to take over, right? So the way that we actually get a price objective from this formation is that we take a trend line from the breakout area, right? So it would be this candle right over here, and then we apply it to that breakout area, and then that gives us the price objective in a very discretionary manner, of course. So that price objective actually comes down to about 16 cents, about 16.53 at the 2.618 golden mean from the Fibonacci ratio, okay? And this was one of the targets that we looked at, okay? But there is the recent price action and the recent behavior in momentum is indicating that the floor may actually be found sooner than this. Okay, so that floor may actually be located at this shorter time frame, 2.618 at 24.11, of which we spoke of yesterday, and we've gotten even closer today. So we dropped to about 25. Let's see, the low is 25.30. You can see the L right over here, right? So 25.30. That was the low of today. So it's looking like it wants to give relevance to that 2.618, 24.11. Of course, we have this range, entirely here just for us to kind of look out, right, and see what those potentials are. Because if we even get a wick down to about the 2.272 at 1939, that's absolutely viable too. It's considerable. What I mean is for a bounce. Right, so now let's go ahead and just take a look at that momentum behavior that I spoke of. Okay, so this is the 30-minute immediate short-term time frame RSI, and you can actually see that we're kind of bouncing from that 14-day simple moving average represented by that pink line, and the RSI signal line is the purple, right? So we're bouncing off of it as a form of support. Okay, so that's good for the immediate short-term time frame. Now jumping into the 4-hour. You can see that the moving average is actually starting to pivot towards the upside while the signal is pivoted towards the upside. It is bearish that we're under the moving average in general, right? But what's curious here is that now both of them are pivoted towards the upside, which would usually indicate a potential bullish cross, right? So it would be a lot more of a bullish cross to cross that moving average while it's on an upside. Opposed to a downside, right? So now the 8-hour time frame is finding a very, very comfortable area of support from that 14-day simple moving average. Very limited downside, but it looks like it actually wants to find that 14-day simple right in this trajectory here before a bounce, right? And now jumping on into the 12-hour, please go ahead and notice that the 12-hour is finding that support from that 14-day simple, and it's pivoted towards the upside. All of this is telling me that there could be a floor found very soon. Okay, just like we spoke of yesterday, and that's why I have those targets still in line. This is kind of just an update for you guys, right? So, and the 3-day time frame, we already got the 3-day closure today, and it already impacted the momentum. So the momentum is still slightly to the downside, very, very slightly. Definitely not pivoted downside to the downside like this, right? So huge loss of strength from the bears there, and there could be some consolidation here before a continuation onto the upside. Remember that it's a 3-day. So it is in a sense kind of waiting for the influence from the shorter time frame momentum, right? So, and on the 5-day, similar thing. It's slightly pivoted towards the downside, just kind of waiting for that influence from the shorter time frames. Okay, you guys. So please remember that I have a few seats left in the ArcMasters trading course. Find a Gmail in the description below and get yourself enrolled. Send me an email. We'll go over the price packages and all that. All right, you guys, and please remember, first and foremost, that I'm not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy or sell any assets whatsoever. I need you to do your own due diligence and everything will be cool. All right, you guys? But, yeah, I think this is a pretty good place to leave off the video, you guys. I guess the only other thing I could have told you was just that upon the realization of this starting an upside, since it is kind of a unique situation, since we've never actually dipped down to this level here, then the probabilities of actually setting maybe even an outlier in the statistical backtest, meaning the 65%, may very well be surpassed here if it is that BBBY sentiment decides to take this to the upside, right? So definitely keep an eye on it, guys. This is not a fundamentals play whatsoever. This is a volatility play. This is a systematic trader's play. All right, you guys. So just know that I don't look at any fundamental analysis. That is the way I trade. I trade the way systematic institutions do. Okay, you guys. So with that said, I wish you well, a very good night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios.